Welcome to another episode of Angels, Positivity, and Love. Today we have a very special guest. I'm about to do the introduction. But first, the usual public service announcement. You've been enjoying this show. It's now 2024. In 2023, we had 50 amazing guests, 50 amazing episodes. Please be sure to go back and check out some of those episodes. You can participate. Put your hand up, take a breath, smell flowers, smell sage through the screen. This is a very interactive experience with angels, guides, whatever you'll allow for. But while you're doing that, make sure you subscribe. Hit that notification button on YouTube, like it, share, comment. You're helping us out by getting this show out to others. You'll boost our subscription base. We appreciate you, and we hope that you'll help, again, get this show out for other folks to enjoy. This can be a game changer. People can get any answers to any questions. And again, you've got a lot of experts from all walks of life, from all over the world, a lot of countries who are sharing their life stories, sharing their experience. They're inspirational. They're also taking baby steps with Angels on Air. And again, I'm going to remind you, you have no limits. Good luck believing that up here, but your heart is already ready to go. And with that, I would like to introduce the most wonderful Dr. Joanne White from the East Coast. She has an incredible background. She's had a long-running show on Power Your Life. She's host of that. She's a coach on a bunch of fronts, whether it's leadership, life, business, spirituality. She teaches energy work. She's got a best-selling kids book that has received a ton of awards, whether it's the Mom's Choice Award, 2017 Book Excellence Award. She's also an advocate for women's rights and many other areas. She's appeared on NBC, CBS, Fox News, Good Housekeeping, Voice America, and WebMD, among many other places. She's been at this for a while. She's wonderful, a positive whirlwind. And so with that, I'd like to welcome Joanne to the show.
Well, Michael, thank you. That sounds wonderful. I have to live up to it today, right?
Yes. Okay, can you tell us, what have you learned or would share with us now, having seen so much? You've been to the mountaintop many, many times. All of us have ebb and flows that go on in our personal life story, our experiences, but you're here again to try to reflect to us all that there's something greater in each moment, each day in our lives that's available anytime we want to pay attention. You know, without looking back too much this second, what would you say have been some of the takeaways from like the last decade or two as you're interviewing so many amazing people, as you're doing your work for others? What would be the recap?
I think it's important to really be grateful. We're going through a lot of different kinds of challenges. I actually had a head injury, and you and I are talking. I had a time, Michael, when I couldn't really talk. I couldn't really put words together or thoughts or whatever. And the takeaway from that was like, wow, look at us. I mean, the brain's working, we can smile, we can think, we can laugh, we can love. Those are gifts, incredible gifts that we need to really honor and embrace on a daily basis. It doesn't mean that everything is wonderful, because it's not, but it means that focus on the little things, like the fact that you and I have been laughing. That's a gift. And it's so important to be able to do that. I think that people can bring so much to one another, and giving. I bought something the other day, and then I looked at the ingredients and some of the things I could not really have. And when I do my daily power walks in the morning, there's this school where kids are waiting for the school buses, and there's this dog and I that connect with each other like we've known each other forever. And I spoke to the mom and I said, hey, I have all these beautiful power protein bars. Would you? She said, I'd love it. So I dropped it off today. She said, wow, thank you so much. And it's so nice to really give. I mean, it's not like, oh, we don't get, we're deprived, or we don't have it. When you give something, and it doesn't have to be big, it could be a smile. It could be, wow, a compliment, whatever it is, but it fills your heart as well as the person that's receiving it. So those are two things that just popped in my head today.
I love it. Okay, tell us more.
Okay, so I also think that it's really important to focus inside. I mean, we have incredible gifts inside, and we need to be able to bring them out and share them. I'm fortunate that since an early age, I've been able to connect with my inner guidance, get messages, and I've helped other people do that, and I've evolved even more into that. But I think that we don't recognize the depth and the wealth of what we have within us that is not just us. How do I put it? Okay, it's more than us. I mean, guides, angels, our higher selves. It's beautiful when you can connect and not feel alone.
Hmm.
And I've had that feeling many, 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 well, daily, but also just at times when I've really felt down or I've been in pain or had an injury or whatever, to really be able to access those inner gifts and those spiritual beings, guides, whatever, angels, whatever you want to call them, that are here to help us and serve us. When I work with people individually, sometimes I'll say, would you like to speak to an angel or your higher self? Because they can give incredible advice and they're there and people choose, and we ask the angel or your higher self very specific questions, and they give beautiful answers and answers that really make sense and really can help the person, Michael, move forward and see what's not working or what they need to do or how more to connect to their inner strength or their spirituality.
No, I love it. I was looking for a quote just a second ago that was back to the very first point you made, and this is from an angel named Dale. Sometimes the person next to you or a stranger just needs validation via love and compassion. A smile changes any moment. So too does laughter or a few kind words. Be compassionate to all. Do it. So I
Love
thought that
it.
was very beautiful and very related to exactly what you were pointing out.
It is perfect. I have a hat with feathers. I should have worn it. And when I go out in the street, I wear it and people love it. Wow, I love it. It's a that's not why I put it on, because I love taking care of birds, but it's a conversation piece. One woman said, "Oh, my daughter loves angels. My daughter thinks that the angels are helping her." I said, "Oh yeah, and that the feathers are gifts from the angels." And so that was a conversation. Somebody else said, "Wow." So it's just, I don't know why, but it opens up incredible doors. I got to tell you a silly story, because about a month ago I was walking and I had a hood and my hat on top of the hood, and the hat flew away in the wind, and I thought, oh, and I walked around, my hat. I said, "Did you see my hat? Did you see?" And people in the neighborhood and all over know, because they know the hat. It's this strange woman with the feather hat, right? So one day, a few days later, I go outside and there on the steps was the hat. I
I,
have no idea who delivered it, whether the hat, and I have a little children's story in my head called The Feather Hat, where the
hmm,
hat decided to come back by itself because it was doing good with other people, making them smile, whatever. I'm in the middle of writing it, but
I love it. I try not to tell people too much, but one thing I'm going to say right now is, everybody has a cheerleading squad, invisible angels, loved ones, other loving beings. There's no hierarchy or anything, but just the more you trust and allow the universe to get in there and help, you have to ask for it. You're allowed, free will. And so everything you're getting right now, it's hard to believe this is perfect as it is. You're good where you are. Even if you were talking credit card debt, this relationship thing, this, that, health, whatever, it's all kind of a reminder for something. You have to figure out what the something is, like at a City Slickers with the finger reminder with Curly. But my point on this is, when people point out like your hat, I believe that that's their angel team kicking in subconsciously to say, hey, compliment that person on the hat, because they know that'll kickstart the conversation. It could be checking out at a supermarket. I get it on the necklace thing all the time, but it's been kind of mentioned to me that that's a safe person to talk to. Like if they're in the zone, they'll mention something about whatever, I don't even know which one I'll be wearing. A white coral rock from Africa was the original one. And so when a person keys in and says something about that, now I'm smart enough, because it took me years to just, oh, hey, this person's willing to kind of like chat. Then I spend a little extra time, tell them a dad joke, and see if, it leads to anything else in terms of, I love showing people their energy on their hands,
Right, right.
or more. And it just depends on the setting. So, okay, Joanne, give us a little bit about your background. How did you first get exposed to energy work or start to realize you had gifts? Was it in early childhood? Was it because of that, that 30-foot ski jump you took in the Swiss Alps back in, 1992? And from then on, you were flying high with energy. What's your origin story on intuition, spirituality, the universe?
Okay, you want to hear a really strange one? Okay. Yeah. When I was younger, I would stand outside. I must have been like 10, and I never told my family this. Okay. And I'm looking up, waiting for them to come back and take me back.
I love
They,
it.
obviously, I'm here. They never came. It was like another planet or whatever. And I was like, where are they? Come on. Okay. But I've always seen or felt or heard and had that connection, and I've always felt very guided with that. I mean, my family used to not understand that, but even when I'm writing,
Shocked.
right, and I love writing, it's always very guided. I'll wake up in the morning with a thought in my head with something to do. And I remember years ago when I was in Europe, I was in Greece, and I was about 19 because I decided I wanted to travel by myself. And this was one of the first times that I just was there and I knew I was there. I felt that there was this presence, this not a fearful one, but just this beautiful, strong, loving presence. I kept turning like I didn't necessarily see it, but I just felt it too. And I've also had dreams, past life dreams that I had to actually I thought this is not, and I do dream work too, but so I thought this is not, there's something more to this because it's so vivid and it's so real. And so I started to do a lot of research with it. I actually have a few clients that have been in past lives with me, which sounds pretty
Hmm. Hmm.
amazing, but
No,
it's,
I think that's a lot more common. I think it's a little more accepted now, but I also think it's just, it would be shocking if you only came in once and cruised out, or we're with the wink of a nod or a blink of an eye, you're out and there's no more anything. That just seems a lot less likely these days. And Brian Weiss has done a great job for the whole past life regression thing. And it's not that I'm a proponent or anything. I mean, there's certain stuff that you get into. I love showing people energy, auras. I don't think that's a big deal, but you can see light flowing between two
oh yeah.
people. When it comes to past lives, I've had an angel, a particular angel, cough up a bunch of past life info, and there's not much you can do with it. And I know a lot of folks also sometimes get hung up on the details, or they feel like it ripples into this lifetime. And sometimes it's like anything else. You can put too much focus there and then it blocks your letting go of the details to be in the moment and be a little more happy. I wanted to ask you,
Well, can I go back to that for a
oh,
minute? Okay.
please.
I think that sometimes there's healing that has to be done from those lifetimes. And if you look at them, you can do that healing because sometimes we are doing something over or bringing something into this lifetime that still needs to be revisited in some way or healed so we can move forward.
And what scrambles the whole topic up too, if this is the case, the fact that these could all be simultaneous.
Oh, yeah.
I love that.
Yeah.
So my message would be a reminder or guesswork here is just the more love you do in the moment and you shine bright, you might actually bleed over into those other, like, I don't like
Oh,
that
yeah.
expression, but you might actually shine into those other dimensions as well. So the bottom line is love more, allow more, kick butt, chew bubble gum, and be out of kicking butt or be out of bubble gum. Okay, when did you first see an angel full on, or suspect that you had a stranger hold open the door for you or give you a lift? Something where they definitely assisted, but they're in human form. Do you have one of those? We won't call it a war story. We'll call it a peace story.
I don't know that this was the first time, but I definitely have one. And I was in Louisville. I was doing a presentation for a women's group, and I was at the airport getting ready to go home. None of the planes were flying because there was really very bad inclement weather. And I decided, well, I'm not going to go back to the hotel. I already checked out. I'm going to stay over. I'm going to stay in the airport overnight. So I'm sitting there on a bench, and this woman comes over, Michael, and she and I are having this great conversation and laughing, and it must have been 2, 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock in the morning, and then I sort of go to sleep, and I wake up and there's nobody there. And I said to a few people around me, "Where did she go?" They said, "Who?" "The woman that was sitting next to me that we were." "What woman?" Where? And then I realized, okay, she was there to help me get through the night, and I was very grateful.
Well, we'll if we can remember, I just wrote down 1 and 2. We'll find out who you were
Oh,
feeling
that
in
would be
Greece,
good.
and we'll feel the airport, because again, guests, nobody's required to do anything, but we take baby steps sometimes on the show, and sometimes a lot actually. Um, yesterday's well, the panel that's the ninth Mind Body Spirit panel in 2023. We had 3 amazing healers on, some more show hosts as well, but they were seeing light on their finger and able to make hearts in the sky that would
Okay.
stay with angel light. So that was them doing that then. Again, it's their own volition. So, okay,
I want to, I have another experience that's been
please.
happening that, okay. Sometimes I'll be in my office and suddenly, I'm standing suddenly, and this is a beautiful, excuse me, a beautiful experience. Suddenly I'm standing. I can't move. I'm
Oh,
being flooded with information. The tears are streaming down my face. I'm feeling very loved, very connected. I'm not really sure of what's being said, but it just feels beautiful. And then it stops, and then I move around.
oh,
It happens a lot. It hasn't happened in the last couple of months, but it's been incredibly powerful when it happens, and I'd love to know more about that.
yeah, we'll ask about that. And then I wanted to ask, I don't know how to do this. Everyone has super skills. Now, some people will never know that it's angels helping out or they're just letting go in that one department. Now, I love the examples of parking spaces. If you just, I've learned from, 20 years in New York, if you go slow or park kind of in a spot and wait, but you feel it out, the person walks out of nowhere, jumps in the car, you get a spot right away versus 1 hour of circling around. But bar stools and I think restaurants is a great example in New York. It can be hard. It's even gotten more complex. You got to sign up for a waiting list now to get a bar stool. I'm reading about in New York City now. I haven't been back since 2010, so it's ferocious to get a bar stool in New York City now. But there's people who can kind of like nudge or be like, "Hey, I sense that that's the person that's about to pay the tab, and you can make sure you're the one who's in there." Or switch the language around. Angels are stepping in, and you've simply allowed your opportunity to get that bar stool. Now, if we only would allow that to apply to all the other compartments of our life, relationships, work, projects, sleep, health, exercise, you would walk a smoother path. But good luck with that. Okay, so what are your super skills that you've had? Obviously, writing is one, but could you share a couple more, even if it's, you
You
make the best
you
coffee?
want no, you wanna hear a silly one?
Yeah.
And I once thought I should write a book about this, but not. I know when I'm driving a car where the person ahead of me is gonna I know it's gonna, without any signal, I just have a feeling that person's gonna make a turn, or that person's whatever, or I just get that all the time. And another thing is I get messages from my clients a lot.
Ooh.
Um, and sometimes from the other side, I'll say, "Your dad is here." And sure enough, he's here, or things like that. Let's see. I'm always guided. I mean, I'll know like and this, I think I told you this story once years ago. I was going to take a walk, and for some reason, everything and anything was keeping me from doing that. Okay. I finally, and I had a client afterwards, so it was too late. I heard later on that that where I was going to walk, because I had a place where I was going to walk, there was a shooting
Ooh.
in the park area, and who knows what would have happened. But I really felt that I was very guided, and angels, guides were determined to keep me away from it, and I
Mm.
was very grateful.
I love it. There are times I've been a runner for like 41 years now, since I was 14. There are times I'm trying to get out the door and it's like an hour later and everything has come up, and I've learned that there's a timing to it for sure, and just to not judge it too hard. Just sometimes it's one way or the other, but I also, it could be completely cloudy, but in San Antonio, the sun will pop out, generally speaking, on most days. I could give you in the thickest clouds. I don't know how to say this. I always end up with the sunshine, and I'm a sunshine lover, so that it gets really funny. Like dense clouds, but I get held back. It's probably my own doing for a lot of it. But then by the time I get out, the sun's peeking out. Now it gets so hot here. The sun has it, it's a double-edged sword on that for the hills, heat, humidity. Whew, it's a lot. Okay.
I have
What?
one more
Oh,
story that
please.
okay. So one day I got this message in my head, you got to go to the store. It was like late at night. I thought, wait a minute, I don't need anything. But I followed my guidance. I went to market nearby. I picked something up. Again, I didn't know why I was doing it. I'm driving back. It's a 4-lane road. And there, if I were to go forward, there was a dog lying in the middle of the road. Okay, so I honked my horn like a crazy woman and stopped my car dead in the tracks, because if I would have gone straight, I would have gone over that dog, and I refused to do that. Okay, I get out of the car and I go over to the dog. Its eyes are open. I start to do energy work on the dog. Somebody comes over, this woman comes over and says, "Oh, I was going to come over, but I was afraid to park my car there or whatever." Somebody came, brought a blanket, a police came and said, "Did you hit this dog?" I said, "No." The police is now directing traffic around. And suddenly we find out that this dog, this little girl who was teenager, young teenager, was watching the dog, and the dog ran away. Somebody else came, started, as people started to come, somebody else came and called up the vet. We were able to get the dog in the car, and I realized that's why I was
Oh,
called out.
I like
You
that.
have to follow your guidance, though. I mean, it may not just be for you, it may be for somebody else in need, and it's important to trust that people are afraid to trust that a lot, but
It's scary. Any of this stuff is scary to let go. I can remember, 2010, 2011 in Austin. I was like the dog that doesn't want to go for a walk, or I was grabbing every psychic by the lapels, shaking them, saying, "What's going on? Why am I?
right,
What's
right, right, right,
this?"
right.
Yeah, and I grabbed the camera early, a sure shot, got those photos, and I used to hand the camera to folks, but you can just see directly now. But two quick takes. Sorry to tell my own stories here, but one is I wanted to go get a burger downtown at this particular place. I didn't want to talk to anybody. I'm in the what's going on mode. Half my friends turn out to be intuitive. It doesn't mean I didn't have a few that I knew about, and I was comfortable with it. I get goosebumps, but that's where the barrier was, and no more. And so I didn't want to run into anybody. I wanted to go get a meal by myself. And as I'm driving into Austin, I hear pull into Whole Foods, and they've got takeout meals, and I'm like, I just drove 15 miles downtown and I'm going to Whole Foods to get meal that I'm going to take back home. I was like, that's weird. So as I'm going to the takeout food section, I see somebody from another neighborhood over that's up in the Northwest. So they shouldn't be down there either.
Okay.
And it's a mom and she's got a specific situation. And, I'm chatting with her. And I guess I must have been a little into the intuitive thing by then, because there's a bubble of compassion. She starts crying, not anything I said, but she was getting what she needed. She got some support and release. And that was what it was all about, not a meal. And I took it home and ate
Yeah,
at my kitchen
yeah.
counter. And one more, back when I was freaking out, I was stuck on ghosts, hadn't taken a photo of Plato, fairies, angels, anything, didn't know anything, still don't know anything. I wanted to go to Zach's. It's down by the ballet opera place downtown by the river there, 2nd Street. And I don't want to talk to anybody. I'm like, whoa, too much is happening. I just want my meal. It reminds me of Nantucket. It's a comfortable place. I walk in, the place is empty. There's a bartender, and there's one guy at the end of the bar. And I'm only there in my same stool. I haven't been there in 3 months. It's around this time of South by Southwest that I'd been there 3 months earlier. And in walks the same guy from South by Southwest 3 months earlier. And he and I are stunned. He's a regular human being. He's safe. We sit in the same stools. We're shocked that the timing is, he hasn't been back. I haven't been back. What are the odds? He's comfortable. I'm comfortable. He used to do album cover designs. Now he's real estate in Austin. So we're chatting. But the guy at the end of the bar looks like a Hispanic Nick Nolte. And it's the angel Joy coming down in human form. Again, a Hispanic Nick Nolte. How we even started chatting with us. How do you chat with somebody 10 seats away? He's eating like he's out of a documentary, and a proper mindfulness eating. And I'm stuck on ghosts. I don't even know about angels or any of this stuff. Haven't watched Oprah, Super Soul Sunday, read a book, Don Miguel Ruiz, anything. So I'm stuck on ghosts. I'm freaking out, and I'm not learning any lessons. And I'm stuck. I get out of my stool and talk to a complete stranger at the end of the bar about ghosts. What am I thinking? All I know is Joy looked at me with her eyes. It's a guy. It's a Hispanic Nick Nolte who said that he owned a like a farm in South Texas, maybe grapefruit, something else. It was total cover story. Angels can do anything. But I looked into those eyes and I saw galaxies spinning. And from then on, that night, I never mentioned ghosts again. They threw me over the lesson fence because I was not learning at all. And that was called a mulligan, I guess. But here's Joy. Why don't we get a topic from her? But why don't you get a quick commentary on that bar thing? I've had people who can see the playback reel of the movie of me being wide-eyed asking about that. Joy took care of business, came down and got me to move along. And what are you hearing?
Actually, I'm just seeing Joy jumping.
Oh, cool. Well, here, get a topic on the whole life coaching, spiritual, what we need to remember sort of thing, or just how to keep it simple in life from Joy, and we'll talk in that direction next.
Well, let's talk about joy.
Sure. Yes.
Okay, joy. I mean, we need to feel joy, and not necessarily joy the angel, but joy. We need to be able to access the joy within us. I actually have a book about that I wrote about joy, because you can create joy, not just for yourself, but for other people. And it's not necessarily external, but it's really something that you can pull from within you. And when you do, just like some of what we've been talking about, you can help other people.
Hmm.
And we need more joy. When we feel joy, some of the difficult stuff that we're dealing with just dissipates a little bit, gets lighter, and we need a lot more light. It brings more light into your soul, into your heart, and into other people, and they can feel it.
Hmm.
And it's contagious in a beautiful way. So thank you, Joy, because
I always describe her, because she's a bigger angel than people I think realize. I always describe her as sort of a global slipstream or interdimensional slipstream of consciousness, at the joy, like enthusiasm, creativity. Anytime you lighten up, it could be a movie, it could be just spontaneously. I feel like you're clicking into that slipstream is how I'd describe it. So I'm sort of at a loss for words today, but I'm doing the best I can.
you're doing a great job. Thank you.
Okay.
I have another story
Please.
about, okay, because you were talking about being guided. I told you about my walk. So one day I was walking in a totally different direction, and I go with where I'm being guided. And there in the middle of the road, I guess I'm very connected to animals, there was a bird lying down. And I didn't know if it was dead or alive, but I went over to it and I picked it up in my hand. By the way, somebody said, "You picked up a bird?" Like, I don't think about those things. It's like something's in need. Yes, I picked it up. I pick up the bird, I'm holding it, and I'm talking to the bird, and I'm saying to the bird as I'm walking back, "I don't know what's going to happen to you, but if you're not going to make it, I'm going to bury you in my backyard or whatever, but at least you're not going to get run over and
Yeah.
right." So I take the bird and I'm talking to it and I'm doing some energy work, and I get to my street, probably about 2 miles, and I feel a fluttering in the palms of my hands, and the bird flies away.
Beautiful. I love
Somebody
it.
said, "What, did you hear that bird?" I said, "I don't know what happened, but
Ooh, when did you first do when you do the energy work? How do I do this? Like Reiki folks are great in one sense. There's 26 varieties of different types of Reiki
I've learned all
people.
different kinds of energy work." So
Right. And but some are wired to only feel the colors or to feel the energy. They say they can't see it. Others are like, no, I see purple and green, or sometimes they only can see with their eyes shut as they're doing energy work. They move energy and they do all that stuff. But again, others can see point blank. Where are you on the curve? Were you seeing energy as a kid, auras on trees, people, animals by mistake, on purpose, all the time?
firstly, when something needs energy, my hands are usually cold, but when something needs energy, they get hot. So even when I'm walking around in this, I can s- sense that somebody needs energy. I don't always do anything like that because you really need to get permission to work on somebody, and
Yes.
that's important. But I just pick that up. I get it. I can see it. I actually can feel stuff in my body. I can see it. I know what's going on, and I don't know.
I like it. Hey,
I,
we'll go that direction next with your permission. I'm going to blow some sage smoke first. The audience should by now be very used to this. I do it on every show, panel, as a guest on 42 or so shows in the last 18 months. I'll do it for the producer, the show host, before the show, during the show. And if you're lucky, this is 5 years in the future. You're watching this. It's 2028. I can do math. You can still smell this. There's no time and space quite the way we think. So let go of that. That's my biggest tip for everything, because we tend to limit all the time with what's up here. And I think what Joanne's pointing to for a lot of us is there's more love, there's more just being in the moment, less details, more flow, available anytime. And she's going to take us there in just a second. But I'm going to light some sage. This is Juniper Ridge. I put it on my website, not sponsored. But I really like this sage. I think you can still get it at any Whole Foods. It used to be $2 a bundle. I'm sure it's $25 a bundle now. Blame inflation, blame the economy, blame the company for upping the price a little. But it's wonderful sage. And they have great incense sticks too. So I'm lighting it. Some people start smelling it as I light it. Give yourself permission. And here's the deal. You can smell sage. Sure. Why not? Everyone does that now. Lorna Burns smelled daisies and roses in Ireland, but ask for more. She didn't smell the sage. But Jennifer McLean smelled 3 flowers and sage in Laguna Niguel. So ask for more. Ask for flowers. Ask for beach smell. Ask for sage and the above stuff. We did this before the show, so we already know it works. But we've also done it before when we've chatted. Catch a little bit of sage, Joanne, but ask for extra. And if you could share what you're getting, blame angels for all of this.
I'm actually getting blueberry
Oh,
smell.
I love it. Yay.
I haven't had that in a really long time. That's right.
Cool. And if anybody has to do it a different way, put your hand out. You can feel it's plant medicine. It's
Yeah, I
angelic.
usually
Yeah, it's angelic energy too, because they kind of jack it a little bit. I would say the crux of everything is what will you allow for, and then what will you ask for? Because we're just not ever in the mode of like, oh, I got no limits. I should ask, I should go big. Most of us are like, oh, this happened, that happened, detail, detail. I feel bad, I'm sick, I'm this, I'm that, this person did that. And that's obviously the way we roll. We're like a pinball machine, but you can get past the pinball machine anytime you want, and own the pinball manufacturing company.
and the mission.
I'm just kidding. Okay, so with that, let's do a different thing that leads us into energy, because we can have a little bit of fun briefly for this. Here's a regular American Bic lighter. I do this once in a while. Just name any color anybody sees at home. You can be like orange, yellow, white, gold. Pick a color. There's no wrong answer. What do you see, Joanne?
Purple.
Oh, are you seeing extra over the flame?
Yeah.
Oh, you jumped ahead of anyhow. Okay, well, for the
Sorry.
person at home, just name the normal color you see of a Bic lighter. It'll be orange, yellow, gold. You're fine. Then ask angels to come in, though. And here, Joanne, you can still jack it more. Ask Joy to add maybe some pink, or you'll get little fireworks coming off of it. So at home, you only have to get out of the brain, go Disney here, because Disney, in the old classic Disney, 70s, 60s, 50s, they have the great stuff. Ask for a little Disney around the flame and get a little extra. Why not? I love why not. Why not?
Right.
You got something better to do? Nah, have fun. So what are you getting around the flame now? More purple, but pink?
I'm getting colors dancing.
Ah, see, I love it. Okay.
Pink. Wait, there were three different colors, pink and orange, and it was a very greenish yellow, but they were like swirling.
I love it. Okay. What does Joy say about any of those colors? Maybe she outs who the orange was, or to me, that's enthusiasm. But who does she say the orange was, or what was the orange about?
Hmm. She's saying something about laughter.
I like it. And orange could be laughter too. Okay, here we go. I'll do a few, four angels, Joy, Charlotte, Min, and Archangel Michael. And then we'll do some just fill in the blanks. We'll hear about Greece. We'll hear about the bench at the airport. We'll just get a topic from like Archangel Michael and let you go. Because I know you've covered so much. You've done a lot. You've helped a lot
Mike,
of folks.
Michael's been around a lot, like I
Yeah.
said, so that's important. So because I
Well,
think he's here for really more so in the last 2 weeks than before.
yeah, and we'll bring them all in. We'll come back to them at times too. But when we get to Michael, we'll get a good topic, and then we'll let you go on that with your permission. But here's Joy. Let me get back to where we were. Oh,
Sorry.
so at home, go ahead and put your hand out. Feel the vibe through two screens. Feel what you can feel. Don't judge. Some people who are thinking too hard about this or trying too hard get the sparkles on their toes instead. Guess what? If you just give yourself permission, and I forgot the only ruler structure I have, I forget everything. Just ask angels to make it nice. So you got it from the heart. Don't get caught at the supermarket doing this out loud, but be like, angels, get me out of my head, into my heart, make this nice. Amen, rock and roll. Thank you. That works for anything. You're about to go play tennis, step on the court, let joy jump in your arm, hit a couple winners. Do it. I've done that. So ask joy for a little bit of love and sparkle. And if anybody wants to see a pink ball light around them, corner of their eye, it could be yellow, it could be white, it could be silver, it doesn't matter. But you can get a topic and maybe take us somewhere with the topic if you want, or we can just go to the next angel.
I'm seeing a hand. It's a huge hand, and it starts off like this, and then it opens.
Ooh, nice.
Yeah, and that's not just for me, it's like for us. That's what I got. Does that make sense to you?
Like a helping opening hand. Mary once said, look in the palm of your hand, and it was rainbow light there, and mankind's being given more love, compassion, more openness. I'll do the Zen Buddhist Chogyam Trungpa expression of, hey, this is all about opening, openness. It's
Yeah.
safe because that doesn't really mean anything, but it does say something.
One time I was talking to a client on the phone, and I felt this rush of love energy. And I said to her, I remember this was about 2 years ago, I said, there's this new energy coming in. I mean, and this was very guided because, okay, I said, there's this new love energy coming in that we don't even, it hasn't existed on this planet. It's coming in big time. We may not be able, I said, I'm feeling it. I get very emotional. I said, I'm feeling it. It's very intense. It's beautiful. And it's here for a reason. It may take time for us to really utilize it or access it or whatever, but it's coming in, and then it stopped. And I've only had those feelings about that same love energy probably 4 times in the last 2 years, like that rush. I don't know how else to describe it, but like this rush of love energy that's whew,
I love
beyond beyond what we know.
I'll put up Charlotte's photo. This is another angel. She's everybody's favorite school teacher from childhood. If you remember third form, you're in Canada, Australia right now. It was Mrs. Johansson. Perfect. Don't pick the mean teacher. But if it's America, it's third grade. It was Mrs. Brown. It's her. So think of her that way. She's soft spoken and with words meant to help you expand. What does she have for us all as a reminder, Joanne? What's Charlotte's reminder to us all?
Well, right now she's showing me bears and nature. And the reminder from her that I'm getting, and I might cry, is that we need to not only take care of ourselves, but there's so much on this planet that we have to take care of, the bears, the birds, whatever, and we need to be able to open our hearts to do so.
Oh, I like it. Instead of a picture of Mary, I suddenly got Mary. Instead of the one with the heart on the chest, that if you're from Ireland, you have to have that illustration. And I've learned the hard way. A couple people from Ireland have allowed for this more modern photo. But again, you got to have the classic. This is going to be a more modern photo. Let this be the big Mary. She's compassion, rainbow light glitter. If you're already like an intuitive veteran healer at home watching this 30 years practice, you believe in everything. You're like, yeah, whatever, no limits. Allow for some glitter as if you're at the Macy's counter, cosmetics, and a fan caught some of it and blew it in the air. Even if you didn't know who Oprah was, an angel, you're like, oh, what are these people talking about? You have it all. You're actually fully skilled and accomplished right now if you're just here. So get out of what you know, give yourself permission, ask angels to make it nice. Here's Mary, but catch a little bit of glitter in the air, rainbow light. Here's Mary. Why don't you ask her a private question, get an answer, get a hug, and then get something that's the reminder for us all? And for those who want the photo to move a little, let her eyes come really alive and even more of a smile on that face. That'll happen.
They are moving.
Oh, nice.
She is talking about compassion.
And there's a million definitions of compassion, just like there's
Right.
trillions of vibrations for us all.
I have a story for
Oh, please do.
I have a Mary story. Years ago, I went to just see to a shrine. It wasn't for Mary, but they had a statue of Mary outside, and
Where was this, and what was the
I'm
actual? As
trying
much
to
detail as you
trying
can
to
give.
remember, and that those
Another country, or
no, it was in Pennsylvania somewhere.
okay.
Okay. And I was talking to Mary, and I was asking first, and I don't even remember what I was asking, but I was just talking to Mary. And I get home, and I asked for some guidance, I asked for a sign is what I asked for too. And I get home, and a couple of days later, my cat has an M on her forehead. It was like, wow, okay, thank you, Mary. That's
Oh, I have there's such a beautiful quote about Mary. We'll come back to that. Let's do Min. I'll find it when you're talking on one of the next
okay.
moments. But this is three Native American chiefs talking about Mary and how much love she has for us all, and other beautiful quotes. Here's an angel named Min, my guardian angel, a white ball of light, double white ball of light on my website. You can just go to that website, put your hand out, and feel through two screens what you can feel in your palm. But just call her Min, the most complex name out of 170. It's Min, the Lakota Sioux word for water, like Minnesota. And she's from really far out, but she's very Pacific princessy and a little bit of Hawaiian spirituality. Anybody who's gung-ho, catch some ocean smell, maybe Hawaii. And Joanne, why don't you ask for a specific reminder of something in your life that would be a fun story to tell us? Or a message.
Okay.
Okay. What'd you get?
It goes back to the feather hat. I was in a supermarket with my feather hat, and there was this little kid crying, sitting, and the parents didn't know what to do. I go over, Michael, to the baby. It was a little baby, and I'm going like this with my hat. I'm taking my hat on and off and doing little silly things, and suddenly the crying stops. She smiles. She starts giggling, and I walk away.
Aw. Okay, I found this is Dull Knife Red Shirt Geronimo back in 2013 talking about Mary. So the question at the time was, what does Michael need to know about Mary in August of 2013? I'm still like, I didn't even know who Mary was. I was like Wikipediaing everything. So throw myself under the bus there. But Dull Knife said how beautiful she is, how much unconditional love she has for us all. Red Shirt said she is love, how much she trusted in her angels. And Geronimo said, she's everything we need to love. If we all had her faith and love, we would never doubt or worry.
That brings something to mind that's really important, and that is we need to have faith. I mean, everybody has a different kind of faith. You have to have faith in yourself, faith in the fact that you're going to make it, whatever it is, faith in spirituality and get I mean, there's some, but it's so important. It enhances us. It helps us through the difficult moments. It's enriching. It's kind of like very important for survival.
Mm.
And I'm not necessarily talking about somebody's religious faith, but
Hmm.
I mean, just
Religious faith,
it could
non-religious
be
faith to me.
spiritual faith,
Yeah,
faith in oneself, faith in life, yes.
to me, it's all the same letting
I
go to
Yeah,
be here. And there are many aspects to it, but one would be the, age old, the self-importance thing. We all get stuck in that. We get stuck in what we think is career or situational or relationships or marriages or this or that society. And it's always lighter and easier. Love is a constant. Mary said something like, love is like everywhere. Open your eyes to see love. And I that sticks with me a lot because it reminds you that in any given moment, any moment, no matter what, you can just be a little more and lighten up.
yeah,
So
I agree.
that's why I like humor, because it
I was
forces a person, the fuddy duddies will be like, ah, this. If you're out at a supermarket, tell the joke to the wrong person. They're not in the mood. They like this, but they still got something out of it.
Speaking of humor, I
Yeah.
was working with someone, and sometimes our egos get in the way. So I said, let's have a conversation with your ego,
Ooh.
which we did. And the ego is not having it, like eventually we get the ego to kind of move along and partner and whatever, but the ego can be like, no, what are you doing? I mean, this is how we got to do it. This is it. I'm
Yeah.
it. And it's important to recognize that the ego is not who we are.
Mm-mm.
It really is not who we are, and it can be feisty and stubborn.
And it's there to protect. Like if you've lost a loved one, it can kick in and rule the roost for a decade or two because you miss that person. You're still in shock. You never handled it in a sort of a heartfelt way
Right.
that allows you to breathe more. So you've locked tight. Um, yeah. And then there's not a lot. You can't tell anybody anything regardless, but you can certainly try to hold space or to help them let angels get in there because angels know how to navigate. They don't know just all the answers and can see your future, your past, all that. They know how to say everything just the right way to navigate your, trillion little personality points. So you're like, I hate sushi. I love the New York Jets. I love Picasso, but hate Manet. They know how to get in there and navigate all that just to resonate the right way. I mean, there's 100 ways to say something. There's only 7 ways your personality will allow yourself to hear it, and only 2 ways that'll leave you on cloud 9. And that's where you just can't compete with Mother Teresa, Mary, angels for providing answers. You can't. Um, they know how to just get in there, even with some humor too. So let's do Archangel Michael. If you don't mind making a request for some fun, extra fun. I don't know what I'm saying. I'm staring off in the distance, but here we go. Here's Archangel Michael one way. I'll put up 4 archangels next as rainbow pie slices, if you'll remind me. And first, get a vibe like a symphony that'll last well beyond the show. So you're giggling through the weekend. And I wish everybody a fantastic month that you're in when you watch this show. Why settle for an instantaneous one-time hug when you can have a repetitive hug given? So for those who will allow for it, maybe scoop some Archangel Michael energy, bring it into your heart. Whichever way you'll allow for it. If you're wearing earrings, scoop that energy, put it into your earrings so that every time you wear them for the next 2 years, make it 10, you get a little Archangel love reminder and even a tap on the shoulder that you go, oh my God, and you even turn around and you look and there's no one there, but you feel love. Get love bombed. And I mean that in the positive sense. Okay, what's Archangel Michael have for you or have for us?
I get the word wisdom, and and my sense of that is, we talked about that, is really trust your inner wisdom, trust your inner guidance, and ask for help. And like sometimes when I need something, I will ask my guides or my angels to guide me in the right direction, or give me what I need, or give me the answers, or show me something. And that's part of gaining wisdom too.
Hmm.
That's what I got.
I
Yeah.
have 4 archangels: Michael, Gabriel, Raphael, Uriel, in a photo. I cropped out the other 3, and the other 3's names are Zadkiel, Shamiel, and Jophiel, because I'm a little slow with names. I waited years to get to know them, and that's an embarrassing thing to admit, but there's 3 more off camera. It's all rainbow pie slices. So
Wow.
here's Michael, Gabriel, Raphael, Uriel. It doesn't matter who's who, but if you want to figure it out, you can. I have a little diagram that reminds me who's who, but you can collectively get a bigger hug. I think that's okay to say. So at home, put your hand out, feel what you can feel, but ask for a hug. The brain can only block one of these activities. And so ask a question about the weekend or the month, what you need to know. One thing you need to know in life right now: listen. The voice will sound like your voice for 1 second. The second you breathe, let go. Exhale like a whale if you're worried about any of this. You'll hear full-fledged, sort of in unison, 4 voices. Or if you just want to focus on Archangel Michael, let him do his job. And what are you getting, Joanne, for all of us, if you don't mind, again, doing us a nice turn?
Well, I'm getting love yourself, because and I started to put my arms around, and I also got kisses.
Oh, I like that. And I forgot I have another. I heard one time in my first house in Austin, like, go outside. I shot the photo upwards. Don't ask me how. And here's the photo of a bunch of archangels together. So I got them all together one time. People like this one. Sometimes doesn't come through that well, but boy, there's some colors today.
Wow. Yeah.
So that's all the archangels, if you can allow for it. Again, if you don't mind hearing like a little symphony of love, a little choral, what am I trying to say? Chorus, like humming or singing. But also one more reminder, and anyone who needs extra help letting go, breathe through your mouth, 1 millimeter open, exhale like a whale if you've got any resistance. And yes, Joanne's smiling, so she's got something going on. What's going on, Joanne?
It's connecting with joy again. It says, okay, lighten up. Lighten up. There's so when we lighten up, Michael, we're bringing in more light onto the planet and into ourselves, and we certainly need it. So lighten up.
It doesn't take a near-death experience or you having like a fever of 108 to have that, realization that it is like you get out of time, you get out of details, you get out of situational judging, which
Right.
defeats us. And you get into that amazing space that just, you had it as a kid at some point. Before bad stuff happened when you were a kid as well. Welcome to being human. But anytime you want to return to home, as they say in all the Buddhist stuff, where you headed home, but it's a metaphor for here, it's available. Play-Doh. Let's bring Plato in. No hugs for him, a fist pump. They're sweaty if you get a hug. I've had more people who get so into meeting angels, and it's cool. I'm not knocking it. But they get to Plato and they forget, and they're like, I got a hug, and it was sweaty. And then they're complaining later. And I'm like, I told you, they're sweaty. But here's Plato. You can see the old man's face. By that, I
Yeah.
mean our venerable philosopher, not an old man.
Right.
But there's Plato, and he is wonderful. He's so pinpoint. If you don't mind asking a private question, get a private answer for 2024 for yourself, but then get a broader reminder for all of us to share. Breathe, 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 everybody at home. He's so sweet and to the point.
Okay.
What did you get?
Well, I'm not going to say what I got for
Oh,
me,
no, for all of us.
but I got take a look around, and there can be more than one answer. There can be more than one way of looking at a situation. Be open, open wider, and open even wider.
Ooh.
And my hand, I mean, you can't even see it because I got like, what?
I love it.
I'm sort of puzzled. Well, it's just more expansion, I guess, in terms of thinking and feeling and knowing, right? That's yeah.
Angels once said, and there's some stuff they say that it takes me years. And I'm like, whoa, because that's big. And then, you got to let it sit for a long time. If you don't judge it and just let it sit, it'll sink in eventually.
Right,
It's
right.
like some movies, I got to watch them like 30 times. And I'm still like, whoa, didn't see that on the 28th time. but there's no right or wrong, but there is proper understanding. This isn't like hey, you can ask angels where to go rob your next bank. That they'll tell you to move on at that point. But you can get any answers to any questions, all languages spoken, all dialects, from India, Hindi, Telugu, English, if you're speaking English over there, but whatever. So this is big. Here's 3 Native American chiefs, unconditional love, spirit guides. They are so much more direct. They're like down on the ground. Yeah, they're easy to connect with. But here's Dullknife, who's wisdom with some humor. And anybody who wants to catch one of those 50 sacred smells, you can catch sage, sweetgrass, juniper, desert piñol, pine, cedar. You get the idea. Or tobacco. Catch a little. It's proper tobacco. You won't get cancer, and this is medicinal, so it's a good thing. Don't judge.
It reminds me of, well,
Are you smelling extra?
no, I just got a memory of a dream that I had years ago.
Ooh. And specifically ask Dullknife what we all need to remember. What'd you get?
What we all need to remember is connection. Connection with one another, connection with ourselves, connection with all of life, with beyond, with just connection.
Beautiful. I love that one. I don't think anyone's put it that way in the shows. Here's Red Shirt, the gentlest mom in the world, Lakota Sioux chief, wearing a U.S. presidential medal. Very soft, very gentle. Anyone going through a layoff, job loss, divorce, tough time, health crisis, they always gravitate to him. But I'll go a little closer. And what are you hearing there?
Look within.
Beautiful. And then last but not least, and I'll do an older Geronimo photo, but here's younger Geronimo. He's like a lightning bolt, action, dry wit, humor, Marine Corps drill sergeant, knows exactly where you are, kind of kicks you in the butt if you've been stalling. Fierce, but to me, like a tiger, but his older photo, he's like a kitten. I love him. Very poignant. I don't use that word very often. And he's slang. The other 2 are proper, formal, yes, no. He's like, duh, just do it. What are you hearing from Geronimo?
2 things. Part of it is the reason I laughed is because there he is, action oriented, and he's saying, just be.
He's like, whoa.
And when you be, then you can move.
I love it. Was that the 2 parts?
Yeah.
Yes. Okay, now here's older. So at home, I love doing this. Take an invisible seatbelt, lock it in, and just ask for a little bit of a roller coaster ride. Here's older Geronimo. He's been around the block. You have no privacy, but the good news is you're not getting judged. It doesn't matter how much of in a bind, pickle, welcome to life, welcome to human flavor, the contrast, and love being in your heart is what allows you to exit what you think your situation is, to go beyond and move into the next bind and pickle, because welcome to being human. Ebb and flow is the name of the game. Here's older Geronimo. So this should take people's breath away. Catch a smell in the air, catch a few drum beats if you want, receive almost a mini little ceremony, but very poignant, very funny too.
Yeah, because before you said that, the first thing I heard was don't take life so seriously.
Oh. And what's one reminder or mantra for all of us, if we just said it a few more times each week or each day, what's his advice to us all, the listener or the viewer?
Well, that was it,
That was it.
Yeah. And you wouldn't know that looking at him. He seems so stern and so serious, but
I have one.
Wait, there's something more coming through. Okay, with that. Okay. It's like the other one. Yes. Okay. He's saying no matter, excuse me, no matter what's going on, no matter where you've been, no matter what's happening, what will be, you need to be able to focus inward. You need to be able to lighten up. Keep getting this lighten up message. Maybe that's for me today too, but lighten up and just trust. And the answers will be there.
Love that. Because anything that's worthwhile or love related, or what we consider to be, if you're a New Yorker, investment banker, lawyer type, we're very action oriented, especially big city, or just jobs you take way too seriously, or your career. When you're here, everything fun happens, even the yeses on sales calls. You're a salesperson at a desk trying to get yeses, but wherever you want to put your passion, your essence, that's where you rock out. I'm not getting my words right on this. The more you love, the more you allow, the more you flow. And the flow is actually what's important. It's the journey, not what you think you need to be doing. And that's why everything works out incredibly well when you look backwards in time. Here's another angel. It's Abe, the Abraham of old, that biblical figure, but he's on everybody's team. He's grandfatherly energy. You might catch a pipe smell. I saw him once as Hagrid in human form on the hood of a car, not on my hood of my car, and I wasn't driving, I didn't hit him, but parked, engine shut off. He's going by, he's got Starbucks cups, he's delivering. It's a really cold, rare January. It's 20 degrees instead of the 70 it was like the other Januaries. He was delivering Starbucks coffee to homeless people, it turns out. But picture him as Dumbledore or Gandalf, more gray hair. So here's the photo of him. If you don't mind catching some sort of either fireside smell, pipe, something reassuring, again, that highest vibe. But here's that grandfatherly energy. And think Middle East, Israel, or Nazareth or Bethlehem, whatever I'm trying to say in terms of historical as well.
He looks so familiar.
Yeah, and if you're into, that type of history, let that kind of resonate around. 'Tis the time of the year. But here's some wisdom from Abe. He's fantastic. He loves handing out fish and not teaching fishing. It's like the opposite of a lot of angels. He'll tell you he's kind of a jerk in human form. I'm being very glib, so forgive me. He can speak for himself. Catch a definite grandfather, fatherly energy, male, supportive energy. And breathe, breathe, breathe for folks at home. Catch what you will. Little pipe smoke if you want. He's here to reassure and support. And what are you getting from the Abraham of old?
Sit in stillness. Like, be still, be quiet, and receive. He looks so like I must have seen him a lot.
He shows up. You can.
Wow. I mean,
People, if people want and they want to run with this right now, get a piece of paper and pen out, but just address a quick note to angels. Be like, angels, will you please show up in human form for me in a way that I can't miss? Because I'm usually the type that, like, I either get so energy scrambled, I'm not really in the moment anymore. I'm like, wow. And I, for people who are mature about this, they can actually be like, whoa, time out. Can we have a cup of coffee right now? There's a tea shop right there. Let's do it. You could probably get that angel. Some angels are on like clockwork time stuff, and it's not meant to be. Plenty these days will have that cup of coffee with you. Have a little reporter's notebook, get it all out of your system with all the questions, but feel the vibe. It's like a wine where you're supposed to be wine tasting, not guzzling. You're supposed to sip, maybe even spit it out, but you're supposed to actually slow way down and take it in. That's what angels are here to help you do in any level, even it's nighttime, dream time. You know this. A lot of stuff happens when we're asleep. It takes a real hero on the hero's journey to do it daytime. Joanne, share with us something. How do you remind yourself, pinch yourself to go, whoa, slow those horses down, park them at the stable for a second, and get out of the carriage to enjoy the moment in life? What are your daily, weekly reminders? Is it a cup of tea, lighting a candle, all the above?
well, I have rituals that I do. Okay, so I do my power walk in the morning, which I did today and yesterday. Despite the weather, I'll do it. And I get messages along the way. I'll get, and I just trust that stuff. It's also about, again, I do a lot of gratitude stuff. So I have a little ritual in the morning about gratitude and one at night.
Can you take us through Can you
I
give it to us in a way that others are like, oh, I could use that technique. That's a good one.
have to be walking.
So as you're walking, you're giving thanks.
Yes. Well, I do. I have, yeah, I have a whole thing that I do.
Is it like mantra after mantra after mantra?
I'm now living my life and I start this way. I'm now living my life in prosperity, joy, ease, health, wealth, love, support, success, peace, miracles, service, manifestation, magic, glory, gratitude. I do that. Okay, I now leading my life. So I'm living it and I'm leading it. Then I am forgiving. Let's see. Then I do a whole thing about I forgive all transgressions against me, large and or small, consciously, subconsciously, and or unconsciously across all time, space, continuums, all dimensions, all realities, all past, present, and future, all universes, all galaxies, and beyond.
And you're in the tri-state area, so you have to include that in there because if
And
people
then
have
I
lived,
forgive then
yeah,
I forgive myself for all of my transgressions, that same thing. And then I ask for forgiveness for all of my transgressions. And then I do my whole gratitude thing.
that's a little bit of that Hawaiian practice. Remember the
I
three?
made up all that's, it used to
Yeah,
start, I would just add more. Well, maybe you need to put blessings in there. Maybe you need to put, service in there. So it's grown over the years.
I had a couple guests in a row refer to that. It starts with an H. It's like Hanapalu. I can't pronounce it.
I
But
know, Hannah, right?
Jennifer,
I know.
yeah, Jennifer McLean, the acclaimed Jennifer McLean, and then like one other guest within a couple episodes of her, both brought that up, and I'm like, whoa! I mean, what are the odds that two guests that close have the same practice? And it's a beautiful practice of forgiving, living, allowing. Yeah, just trying to. You already have a full connection through your heart to everything. You're connected to everyone and everything. And we do our darndest to forget that as fast as possible and to have stress, worry, fear, judgment, all the things that have to do with the ego and psyche. But anytime you want to let go of the accelerator on that or pump the brakes a little from thinking's not going away. We're not trying to knock it. You got it. It happens. But I think I'm going to quote Angels here 7% less thinking a week is the gold medal standard. And Charlotte said that. Anything I've said that sounds sharp today, it's
I
it's Angels. So here's Charlotte on that.
I wanted to say something, Michael, and that
Please.
is you can create. I mean, I have this whole gratitude thing that I haven't even said to you, but you can create your own mantra, your own way of doing it, and make it a practice, make it like a ritual or whatever you do. And it really, I mean, when you do that, I know that it lifts me in the morning, it lifts me at night, it sets the tone of the day, it sets my energy. There's something about it that's really powerful, and it doesn't have to be what I said or what you said. It's just what comes from your heart that you really want to put out there. But gratitude is big.
And it involves letting go a little bit of your personal details. It's not, we're not taking away from this happened to you, that happened to you. You lost
Right,
three
right.
jobs in a row, three layoffs in a row. Incredible amount of synchronicity there. But if you ask somebody, hey, what's going on in your life? You might get 28 pages of a life story. This happened to me. It's a trauma dump.
Right, right.
And we all do that as well, because especially if you just got fresh out of a situation, you had a conflict with someone, you're like, this happened, I said this, they said this, they're wrong, I'm right, da, 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 da. And it may be exactly what you said, but can you get away from the 20 paragraphs or 28 to 20, 15? And as you write it, can you let go of certain paragraphs? Can you start to shorten it? I'll give you another way to look at it that should make people laugh. You're in second grade, you get caught sliding on the floor. The teacher wasn't in the classroom. 5 of you were taking turns. You're the unlucky one that slid right up to the teacher as she was walking in. And now you're writing on the chalkboard as punishment 100 times. I will not slide across the floor and disrupt class. But by the time the teacher gets back, because you've been left alone to write 100 times, you're just writing, I will not slide, because you're in first grade. You don't know any better. You're like, let's make it short. That's what you do with your life story, because the second you can get away from the details, if you want to be the perfect human, Rama himself, it's I am love. Good luck with that. Not one of us will ever shorten our life story because, you lost your left leg to a shark bite. You had this happen to you, your illness, and it's so hard getting business. We have our stories. But the second you can just get to I am love, woof, we're going on your show. So, okay, here's Charlotte. She's got something to say. You've got something to say. She's going to remind you of something. And if you want to get that pulsing blue that has been her thing this week for everybody, get some pulsing blue.
She's talking about inner peace. And that color, that blue, brings that on beautifully. I got all quiet inside.
Whoa, don't do that. We're on a show. We need you talking. We need you talking. We need
Okay, well, that was
Okay,
only for a minute. I'm back.
Oh, have her. She's great at past lives for some reason. I've had a bunch kicked out. I never asked about those. I
Oh,
died
I
in
had
childbirth, supposedly with a sock stuffed in my mouth. I drowned in the Mediterranean as a merchant marine person. It's a long story. I don't get many details, but here's Charlotte. Get something on the, what does she say just about past lives in general?
all connected.
Oh, and are they simultaneous? Let's go ahead and ask the big $64 million question.
She said, wouldn't you like to know?
Oh, yeah, there we go. It's you get caught up on all the answers here and stuff. Okay. What do we
I
do
got a
with,
funny story,
oh, please.
a past life story. I was actually a healer, and my neck was actually cut. So, right. And okay, so I mean, that was only one of my million zillion past lives, whatever. And I went to one chiropractor once, and he changed his practice where he actually had us kneeling, and our heads would
Oh
be.
boy. And you were like, no, thanks.
I said, I never went back
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
it broke that all up again. It was like, no.
No, 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 no. Not good.
I don't know
Okay.
why that came up, but go ahead.
What are the three things to leave us with for going forward in life? Or what are some resources you like? Is there a classic movie? Like I love Peaceful Warrior or It's a Wonderful Life or Lucky Partners, which was made 4 years before It's a Wonderful Life, that I think is the real Guardian Angel movie, or a book or something that you love pulling off the shelf when you just need a reminder to curl up, slow down.
Okay, there's a book that I used to love when I was a kid, The Little Prince,
Yes.
which is also about love and compassion and connection and seeing beauty in the unexpected. But I think what's important is be open, recognize that there are answers, that you do have gifts, that there is guidance, that you're not alone, and that you're loved, and just what you said, and that we are loved. And the more that we experience and feel that and fulfill that love, whatever that means, the more love we generate within ourselves and on the planet, and actually beyond, because I've been to other places.
Yeah, and we've had a couple guests this year that are, or last year that are, that have had those experiences. Sometimes it's dream time, but for a few lucky folks, if you want to put it that way, it's more lucid or just while they're sitting upright, maybe seated, and so on. It's a big universe, and I think mankind's just figuring this out. It's not. Let me do it a different way. I think it's an angel named Fiona who, when it was talking about the Earth, it's not up to humans to fix anything. Now, I'm not advocating if you and I are starting a factory, we're building 20 extra smokestacks. But the point on this was humans think that everything has to be determined by us, controlled by us, done by us. It's much more the complete opposite. So humans with their politics and all the global stuff going on right now, it's a lot of hubbub, but it's kind of like that Shakespearean quote amounting to not much, a lot of fury, but it's a cat meow in LA Story with Steve Martin. I think they did a humorous version of it. Okay, so angels exist. Trust that this is so. How would you give a final bit of advice for sort of just asking angels to kick it into gear to help slap you into shape and pay attention more for the viewer out there who's like, whoa, I don't know about all this. How do I get out of my own thinking? How do I invite a little more help in? What's your final reassurance that like, hey, it's okay, do it your way, but ask for help? What's the way you would suggest for folks to give it a go?
Firstly, it's to quiet your mind.
Good luck with that.
Yeah, well, I teach people how to do that, and when you can, your mind can be incredibly quiet to receive, and it's about being open. Answers, guidance is everywhere, in a book, in our conversation, in, whatever. Years ago, do I have a minute? Years ago, I was thinking about visiting a friend of mine, and it was really stormy, and I asked for a sign, and my friend's name was Lenny. So I'm walking, I always walk, and there's this truck that goes by, Michael, and the truck says C, it has a letter C, Len, Len, N-E. And so I said, oh, okay, see Len. So I went, and it was fine. So I mean, it sounds silly, but if you're open to the guidance, and it feels so wonderful when you get it.
Mm.
It's you're so in sync and in connection, and it's like we're not alone, which you and I know we're not alone. And it just is elevating to your heart and to feeling that feeling. I don't know how else to explain it, but be open and ask and receive.
Oh, I
And
love it.
don't doubt it. Well, should I do this? I mean, I always go with that and I shared a lot of those stories when I just went with it, and I was there to help somebody or to do something for myself or whatever. So trust and
I
be
had
open.
I had a couple of years that there's a sort of an American way we approach this, which is like resisting at every level. How could this be? And then you've got to analyze it, and you're up here, and you're approaching everything from up here. But if you've ever played a sport, art, singing, music, enjoyed a meal, there's a part of you that already knows how to do everything from here, and that's all you have to learn is the switch. But I can remember, if you're in a pickle a little bit or you're needing reassurance, you're going to get signs. You just have to pay attention. It might be 19 trucks they sent your way before you saw the 19th that said what it needs to say, because you had that morning for the 18th morning said, hey, universe, angels, Jesus, Mary, God, whoever, Buddha, Muhammad, and you dump it out and you're like, I need help. I remember sitting at a light outside my original community in Austin, and it said faith on the license plate of the truck in front of me. And I actually have a photo of that. And there was another time, and I think I have a photo of this. I'm going to go see a guy who flew with my dad. My dad was a radar intercept officer, died in 1970. He was supposed to die when he was like really young. He had just turned 25, 26 in a plane crash off of Italy. He knew he was going to go young. This guy flew with him, even skied in the Alps. And this pilot lived in a certain name of a certain street, downtown Austin, basically, but in the hills. And that name was on a rental car. It was the name of a dealership up in Iowa. Sometimes you see rental cars that aren't from the city and state that you're in. They're from out of state, Illinois. And it was exactly, I'm going to make it up. It was like Rosebud Trail. And it said that. And I almost did a double take because I am on my way to his house. And that is the address punched into my, what do you call that, finder, the navigator thing. And I'm doing a double take. I'm like, how can a rental car have the exact location that I'm headed to? Yeah. So a lot of little things in life. They're not accidents. You can ask for more synchronicity, just allow more. You're only the one, though, that can, if you're the onion, you use that metaphor, that can shed the layers, or the Tootsie Pop. How many licks does it take to get to the center? Anybody remembers the 70s and 80s, those commercials? But you have unlimited love here. When are you going to get around to sticking your elbows out, thumping your chest, and saying, I'm love?
Right.
Okay, last reminder on love. It's shiny, it's fun, it's brilliant, it's available, it's unlimited. You can tap into it anytime you want, no matter what you're thinking. How are we gonna? How's mankind gonna do this? How is anybody listening to all this going to allow for more? What's your final bit of wisdom for us all?
Well, just do it. Just every moment, be love. Every moment, do an action, a connection, or whatever that represents love in some way, shape, or form. Love has many forms, many ways of being expressed, many ways of being shared, including to yourself.
Oh, there's that French expression, each day love takes on a new face. And everything's your instruction. And what Mary said, love isn't everything. Open your eyes to see love. Okay, people can hit up your website. It's drjoannewhite.com, just as it sounds, but I'm going to say it and spell it out. It'll be in the fine print below the video. Dr. Joanne, Joanne, white, like the color, but not a color.com. People can hit that up. If you were to tell folks one thing, do you do what's your easiest session they can book you for? And can you quickly spend 30 seconds on that? What's the baby step they can take with you just to say, I want more of Joanne White and I want what she's been having?
They can email me, joanne@joannewhite.com. They can call me 856-795-5854. And I usually do a free consultation to
Okay.
see if we're in sync. They got to feel comfortable. I got to want to do it.
Yes.
And they ask questions and see, and I do a lot of different things. I even teach people how to access their inner guidance and their gifts. And I'm an intuitive and empath, and I do energy work and all sorts of fun stuff and past lives, and teach you how to connect with your future self, which is a lot of fun.
Hmm.
And a lot, so, and also helping people move forward in their lives if they're stuck in their relationships, their lives, if a lot of different things. And that's evolved over time too. I love helping people. I love seeing people smile and feel good about life, themselves, and their direction. And it's important. And it's important to share. So to me, it's very important to do that.
Oh, brilliant. Joanne, thank you very much for being on the show. Angels, Positivity, and Love. Certainly enjoyed having this conversation with you, and I've enjoyed all our conversations. So thank you. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you, Michael. The pleasure's mine. You are a blessing. Thank you. I
Oh,
love you.
thank you very much. Okay, everybody, don't forget, subscribe, like, please share something that you really enjoyed in this conversation. That's a comment. But again, other folks need to know about this show. Get it out there, do what you can do, participate. It changes everything. It bumps us up so that others in their feed, the algorithm takes this in and it gets shared even further. Appreciate the audience, appreciate Dr. Joanne White today. Thank you all for tuning in. This has been Angels, Positivity, and Love.
Thank you.